Hi, I'm Mike Miller. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks so much for watching Denton Community Television. My guest today, Candace Heimdal. I appreciate you being here. You have a nice exhibit at Jupiter House. And when did that first get put in there? Last week or?
I believe the beginning of last week was when it was put up, yes.
And what is the name of the?
The series is called Connectivity.
Connectivity, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How many works do you have up there actually?
I think they have about 20.
20, yeah.
20 to 20, I think about 20, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not all hung up. Some of them are still down in the basement because they wouldn't all fit.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
They seem really relaxing to me. I've just enjoyed looking at them, and they just seem peaceful. There's something about them, but there's a lot of intertwined unity in art, I guess, that we were talking about the, well, like when something first starts off with a certain shape you were showing me a while ago, and it
The
goes...
flower of life?
Flower of life, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything starts from that basic pattern. That's anything living starts from that same basic pattern and just grows and grows and grows into something, whether it grows into a human or a frog or an elephant, but we all start as that basic structure. So we're really all connected from the same basic premise. And the series is supposed to be a narrative on how everything is connected from the molecular level to the level that we're used to, our common surroundings, all the way to the very large cosmic level. So, but it's all connected through similar patterns in mathematics, like the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence, and the flower of life pattern, and just other patterns that are followed all throughout nature that connects us all. And it is supposed to be relaxing and peaceful because, I mean, we get so caught up in our day-to-day rat race, and
Stress
we forget
of life,
that we're
yeah.
really just part of an ebb and flow of the universe. And,
Yeah.
I mean, we really have a greater purpose than to just go to work and do something that doesn't fulfill our deepest purpose.
Yeah.
So I figure I can try to bring that into people's reality and hope that it inspires someone to maybe go try to follow what they really have in their heart to follow. And
what were you saying about seashells? That was so interesting.
oh, if you like cut open a seashell, it has the same ratio of that spiral in the middle. That's the golden ratio it's the same spiral you'll see in like a top view of a galaxy, or it's the same curve in a wave. They don't curve like huge and then small. It's always the same
Yeah.
angle of the curve, and it's the same curve that's in the galaxies, and I repeat it throughout a lot of my works.
Now, the one that's behind the couch, which one is that?
That was Sisters of the Fog.
Sisters of the Fog.
That one has gained a lot of attention. It used to be hung in Cafe Brazil.
Cafe Brazil.
On the corner of Carroll and University.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was there for a while, but yeah, that one was a lot of fun to do. It's one of my biggest ones.
Are these to you planets?
They can be moons or they can be planets.
Moons or planets, yeah.
It's not there. I don't have it like nailed down to one or the other.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're more symbolic.
Symbolic,
There's a lot
yeah.
of symbolic representations in my paintings.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, something I'll be going through in my life will come out in my paintings,
Really?
sometimes
Yeah.
intentionally and sometimes without me knowing it. It's kind of
Yeah.
therapeutic.
Yeah.
So I'm really close to my sister, and we both tend to go through periods of like going down into the fog and then coming back up,
Oh,
and coming
really?
down into the fog and coming back up, and we
Yeah.
help each other get through it. So these two planets are representative of me and my sister.
Really?
And the fog, it's like we're both above the fog
Above
right
it,
now.
yeah.
Even though everything can look red and can look to some scary,
Yeah.
it's actually not as scary as it seems. Like we both tend to get into stressful situations and then think it's the end of the world, and really it's
And just keep floating.
It's not.
Yeah.
And then so we keep each other a little grounded. But yeah, most of the paintings have a deeper, more personal message, but they have several messages, and I really hope for people to look at them and sometimes maybe just forget that they're stressed out,
Yeah,
or
that's
go,
right,
kind of
yeah.
a vacation, like go to a different place.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Just like a book would take you to a different place.
Yeah, and this one is 48 by 24. It'd
Yeah,
really
it's
be
pretty big.
nice in a big living room or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
I really like these that you had those smaller ones over there on that north wall, geometric horizons.
Geometric horizons.
Geometric
yes.
horizons.
Yeah, that's one of the smaller ones. It was kind of just an experiment.
6 by 24.
It's actually two separate canvases, and you can put them as close or as far as apart as you want. They're not connected, so it's a diptych.
And pyramids, I noticed, are in some of your work.
I really want to start incorporating more pyramids. I'm actually really interested in Egyptian mythology and Egyptian history.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And the things that they had
That
knowledge
they
and
knew.
access to that we have forgotten now.
Yeah.
They actually have, one of their temples has the flower of life pattern
Oh, really?
etched into the side so perfectly. It's as if it was done by laser.
Really?
And they just cannot figure out how it was done, and they carbon dated it, and it's just as old as their society. But it's like, how did they have the tools to do that? There's so much mystery in the Egyptian culture, and a lot of it sparks what I do here, even if it doesn't come out as obvious. The one with the pyramids, of course, is just a little bit more obvious.
This is the one that's not framed, isn't it?
It's gallery wrapped canvas.
Gallery
All
wrapped.
of my canvases are gallery wrapped. They are not framed. That's
Imma-
one of the other bigger ones. That's Immaculate Conception.
Immaculate Conception.
36 by 30 oil on canvas. That's supposed to be, I believe, the Orion Nebula.
Oh, is it?
But if you look closely, it's easier in person with the actual painting. If you look closely, you start to notice there's actually a human fetus inside the middle.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yes.
notice that down there today.
Yeah, it's very subtle, and it's meant to be.
It just kind of represents energy to me, like a flowing type, like energy coming from the center or something.
It definitely has that as an intention behind it. It was really, originally it was just for my daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we found out that we were having our baby, when we thought that wasn't, according to the doctors, it wasn't supposed to happen. So she was kind of a little bit of a miracle, but that's also why I call it Immaculate Conception.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like life starts from the stardust.
Yeah.
And we're made out of the same pieces as the stardust, the same basic elements. Yet again, we're all connected. And so I just thought it made sense to place her in the middle of one of the most beautiful nebulas.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's a really good idea, and I really like that one. That would
Yeah.
really look. That would be a nice one for someone to have for
Well,
sure.
That one's not for sale.
Oh, that one's not for sale.
I'll make prints of it, but that one I have quite an attachment to. That one's special. That one's for her, so I'm not selling that one.
Are these up there in that display?
That one is not up there.
They're not there.
That one is an unframed watercolor.
Across the Great Divide.
Yes. That one is sold. This one is hanging in the office of Johanna at Shambhala Wellness on university.
Oh, really?
She teaches a few different things, but she ended up having that in her office.
And this has the
That's the Flower of Life pattern.
Flower of Life
It's
pattern.
also in this one, but it's a little more, it peeks through and hides in some places because our connection to one another is not always as apparent.
Yeah.
So, but it is also in there, the same pattern.
When did you first start doing art, drawing, and painting?
I've been drawing and painting ever since I was little.
Really?
Ever since I can remember.
Really?
I can't remember a time where I wasn't drawing or painting or
Yeah.
making clothes for my Barbies or just doing
Really?
something artistic.
Yeah.
And I've always been fascinated with space and
Yeah.
Egypt. And I used to have a telescope, and I'd just go out and try to figure out where certain planets or stars was.
Oh, really?
And where they were.
You've
And
been studying.
Yeah, so I've been studying like just science,
Astronomy.
and astronomy, and art, and
It all goes together.
nature, and yeah, it all goes together. I grew up on space, science, National Geographic,
Yeah.
all those things, and they just always enthralled me. So whenever I was trying to figure out what I wanted to paint about, I read something that was like, your truest passion is usually what you've been passionate about for the longest. So go back to your childhood. What were you interested in whenever you were a child. And I realized I'd always been obsessed with science and space and the stars and our connection to nature, and I always felt like Pocahontas,
Really?
but Bill Nye the Science Guy at the same time.
Yeah.
So I kind of meshed it together and
That's
had
great.
an epiphany and realized this is what I'm supposed to be painting about, and I just have yet to get sick of it. So I guess it's just what I'm supposed to do.
You've been studying art at TWU?
Yeah, I am 2 semesters away from graduating, which with my bachelor's of fine arts with a concentration in painting.
Really? Who are some of your favorite teachers over there?
I don't know if she still is there, but she was my first watercolor teacher, Lindsay Dunnigan. She really, really helped me break through with my work. The first semester I took with her, I had never touched watercolor ever.
Really?
And so
She took you there.
She taught me to let go.
Yeah.
To let the learning watercolor was very therapeutic, because I always was a little bit of, or I tended to be a little bit of a perfectionist. And so the great thing about watercolor is it teaches you've got to let go.
It runs.
Because it does the most beautiful things if you will just let it do what it naturally does on its own, and
Yeah.
quit trying to control every little starburst and every little drip and every little run. And whenever I just let go, that's when all the beautiful things started happening, and it like started accelerating really, really fast. Like the very first paintings I did, I kept them. They're horrible, but I kept them on purpose to be able to
Yeah.
see the difference. And the very next semester, I started painting stuff like Separation from the Source. That was
Oh,
like
really?
the very first successful painting I did. And
Is that in
then-
here?
Yes, that is in there. So it changed very quickly once she showed me how to just let go. That's one of the first ones. My first ones are much darker, because I still was a
Unraveling
little
the
unfamiliar with the medium and used a lot of
Oh,
paint,
okay.
but this was one of my first ones.
Separation from the source.
Yeah, and so the source is supposed to be like the light, the good, the force that drives everything, Gaia, whatever you want to call it. And there's this little rift that is between us, we are the planet, and the source. And when we are become separated from it, we become broken. So that is
Very true.
That's what that's supposed to be about.
I really like that. And I've always liked pictures of things that kind of look like Saturn. I don't know, it just seemed kind of powerful. I like this one, Unraveling the Harmonious Unknown.
Yeah, I was painting that one along with the previous one at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never paint just one painting at a time.
Is that
I've always
right?
got at least 2, 3, sometimes 4 paintings going at the same time, and I'll go paint on this one, and while it dries, I'll go paint on this one. So they all sometime, you'll notice that like 3 or 4 paintings have similar colors.
Yeah.
It's because I'm working from the same palette
Same.
to do several different paintings at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Rise Through the Cliffs. You mentioned that a while ago, I think.
yeah, that one's about rising above the obstacles in your life.
Oh, okay.
So the planet or moon, either way, is rising through these jagged, unfriendly cliffs while the sun is coming up through them. So it's like when you're going through a rough time in your life, if you can just keep pushing through, you can get through it, and then the dawn comes.
Yeah. I guess the sun kind of represents power.
It represents
Life.
new knowledge coming about, light being shed, that so you can see what you didn't see before.
Radiates out.
Yeah. So
Who were some of your favorite famous artists now?
Salvador Dali for sure. I would really like to get more into surrealism. I have in a few, but I really look up to his eccentricity. Actually, a lot of my artistic inspiration comes from musical artists.
Really?
Not necessarily canvas artists. I mean, I do use a lot of inspiration from sci-fi books.
Oh, really?
I have like a huge stack of sci-fi illustration books, and a lot of them were just illustrating for comic books or regular novels that had sci-fi themes.
Settings and characters.
Yeah, so I use that for visual reference and Hubble Space Telescope imagery, a lot of that.
Yeah.
But most of my real inspiration for things to paint actually comes from musical artist, but also just nature itself.
Really? Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I get most of my ideas watching a sunset or watching a sunrise.
Oh, really?
Or from my dreams. Or,
Yeah.
But music is really a huge part of this. Like it's almost a little bit like synesthesia. Like I'll hear the music, and then when I close my eyes, I'll see the painting. Like I'll see like certain sounds translate to certain colors and shapes for me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm like having artist block, I'll go and get up early and have certain music playing in my headphones and watch the sunrise.
Really?
And I come up, or sunset, and images just start flashing into my head.
Yeah.
And so I sketch them down really quick, just to get the general gist of where the planets need to go, where's the horizon, what's the general gist of what's going to be in the painting.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually don't sketch them out very much more than that before I start painting, because a lot of it, so far it's like the painting tells me kind of where it wants to go.
Yeah.
I have a general idea and a like message I'm trying to bring across.
It's kind of organic. It develops as it goes.
It very much so, yeah. And then if I have an idea to do it just a little bit differently, then I'll just do another one, and I'll just keep painting and keep painting. But
you'll do versions of a certain painting, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like people do with recording music, they'll have several versions of a song.
Right, and as I'm painting, usually just more ideas start coming into my head.
Yeah, yeah.
And I half the time I don't even know what sparks them; they just don't stop.
Yeah.
So.
You sometimes listen to electronic rock, the Faint, the Crux.
Cruise Shadows.
Cruise Shadows.
The Cruise Shadows have been a huge inspiration. Their messages are so positive.
Really?
They're really dancey. So half the time I'm dancing while I'm painting.
Yeah.
Get
your energy going.
Yeah, my energy gets going. I'm dancing while I'm painting, and the music is all positive and about like capturing your dream and reaching for the stars and things like that. So I get into my own little world in my studio space in class, and I'm sure sometimes the teacher walks by and thinks I'm crazy, but he knows what I'm doing. So, but if I forget my music, like if I forget my iPod or my music at home, half the time I can't paint.
Oh, really?
I have to have the music.
Yeah.
Or I don't have to, but it just makes it.
It gives you a lot of energy.
It gives me energy. It makes more sense. It helps quiet my mind because I tend to think too much, and so when the music is on, it quiets everything else, and I can focus. And then, like I said, like the music helps me figure out what color, what shape, what pattern do I need to use. It's like a certain song translates to purple. A certain part of this song translates to blue, and it just helps, I guess, those
you relate
neurons.
moods to different colors.
Yes, definitely. And even just certain sounds that are in electronic music, that'll translate to like the hexagonal pattern that I repeat, that I sprinkle throughout stuff. It kind of looks like honeycomb.
Oh, yeah.
I have a few paintings that have that sprinkled throughout of it, but there's like a certain synthesized sound in electric music that translates to that pattern for me.
Yeah.
Or even just the like overall ambience will translate to the flower of life for me, or something like that. It's pretty interesting. But I much rather would do that for inspiration than something that's going to end up killing me later.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, it's good to be healthy.
Yeah. There's part of another thing that's very strong in my being as an artist is maintaining being really healthy, because I want to inspire people, and I have a lot of work that I need to do in this lifetime, and I can't do it if I feel run down and feel not very good, and if I'm starting to get injured or my health is deteriorating, well, then I can't paint.
Yeah.
And then I'm burdened by whatever disease or dysfunction, and then I can't do the positive work that I think I was brought here to do.
Yeah.
So I intend to live a very long time and have a good quality of life the whole time, so that I can continue to inspire and help other people.
Do you think you might be a teacher in the future?
I think I am already a teacher.
Teaching
and
already?
I think we all are teachers, really,
Yeah.
whether we mean to or not.
Yeah.
A lot of my teachers have suggested that I become an actual like teacher in the school setting. I don't know if I will do that. I really like to, I really like being the student that's in the class that helps.
Making the art.
Making the art, but also the one who I usually will bounce around to everyone else and help them.
Help them some.
They're like, how do you do that brushstroke? Or how do you use this medium? Or how do you do that with this? And I love to show them and to help them.
And do you do oils also?
Yeah, I do water and oil, the two complete polar opposites.
Can you mix those on the same painting or not?
I mean, I imagine you can. I never have, but oil and water don't mix.
Yeah.
So it kind of, I've never really seen anyone do that. I'm sure it can be done. So many rules in art are meant to be broken.
Now, acrylics, I don't understand what that is exactly.
Acrylics are, it's just a different type of paint. They're water soluble, and I've never really used them very much.
You haven't used those?
I've used them a little, but they dry really quickly, and oil dries really slowly. So oil gives you much more leeway. So if you mess up something, it's still wet, it's still fixable. With acrylic, it dries really quickly, and then you're stuck with what you have, and you try to cover it up, and then it
gets thick.
Acrylic hasn't really appealed to me very much. I mean, sure, it's water soluble. It's easier to clean up. With oil, you have to use terpenoid mineral spirits, turpentine if you want to gag, but because it's toxic and it stinks.
Yeah,
but
it does.
Oil is just so rich and so buttery, and you can like get a really good texture. And it gives you playroom. It doesn't dry really quickly. So.
Yeah. But I was just so impressed with the colors and shapes in your display there. You know, I just thought it was just so. When I walked in there, it just kind of had an effect on me. You know, kind of a mood.
Well, that's the intention. So I'm glad to hear that. And I've wanted to hang in Jupiter House for years. I just never had enough work, and now I finally do. And I always wanted to hang there because it just makes sense. Jupiter House.
Yeah.
And it's galactic work.
That's true.
So.
How long does it usually take you to do some of these like this, these larger ones?
The larger ones, I mean, I think the only time I ever actually timed it, it was somewhere between 10 to 15 hours each.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to tell.
Time in between drying and all that.
Because, of course, you have to wait for each layer to dry.
Yeah.
So are you counting that time or are you not?
Yeah.
And because then it's like sometimes I do things that are so wet with salt. You put a lot of water and then you throw salt on there. And depending on the humidity and depending on, there's so many variables, it's really hard to say how long it takes to paint. Because also sometimes I'll get stuck and not know what to do, and I'll just put it to the side and not look at it for a week.
Yeah, and you're still
and
thinking
then I come
about
back.
Yeah.
And also I'm painting on several different paintings at the same time.
Ones, yeah.
So. But if I were to just sit down and only do one painting and time it and be feverishly working on it as soon as that layer is done drying, keep going with no blocks, somewhere between 10 to 15 hours of work.
At least, I'm sure.
At least, yeah. But I usually, once I'm done with a painting, before it's really done and I sign it, I'll usually put it away somewhere where I can't see it and wait about a week, and then I'll bring it back out, and things will pop out at me that I need to fix or tweak or
touch it up,
and then I'll put it away again for usually another week, and then I'll bring it back out, and I'll just keep doing that until I'm satisfied with it.
Yeah, and you see it slightly differently when you see it new, like that, new and fresh,
So that's the part that kind of takes the longest, because I'm not doing very much work, but it's just all these little details, little tweaks that end up giving it the wow factor.
Yeah.
So, and polishing it. So, it's hard to say how long it takes for each one, but I think any artist really realizes that.
Yeah, that's for sure. It must be fascinating to be able to do something like this and come up with these creations like this. Halo in the Dusk, did we?
I don't think we've shown that one yet. Halo in the Dust. Yes.
That's one that's up there, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, it would have been, but the frame broke on that one.
Oh,
so
the frame, yeah.
It was hanging in a different exhibit here in Denton, at this thing called The Reach. It was over at the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
and I don't know what happened, but it just fell off the wall and shattered
Oh,
into a million
really?
pieces. The painting's fine, but it's unframed now, so no, that one's not hanging. I remember now.
Stairs to the Unknown, is that part of the collection over
Yes,
there?
that one is on the wall. Both of these are, and I never realized I was painting these two at the same time. That's why they have similar color palettes. But I didn't realize these are the same planets.
Are they?
That was completely unintentional.
Alignment of Dusk and then
Stairs to the Unknown.
Stairs to the Unknown. I really like this one. Hey, you have the perspective. It's like you're in a cave looking out at the planets and I guess like the freedom or something out there, and then water there. I thought that was just really so complete in a lot of ways, and just the perspective of like you're in a cave and looking out, or maybe you're heading out or something, you know.
Sometimes people feel like they're in a cave in their life and they're trapped. And so I like to show people, like, here's the door. Like, there is a way out.
Yeah.
Just turn your head in that direction and go.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what that's supposed to represent.
Like an awakening or something,
Yeah,
stepping
a lot
forth.
Yes, there's a lot of awakening, stepping forth, stepping out of what you're in into going where you want to go. There's a lot of that sprinkled throughout all of this.
Well, you really have some wonderful art, and I hope more people. How long will your display be there in Jupiter House, your art show?
It should be there for a couple months.
Couple of months? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
They didn't really tell me how long it would be there, and I didn't really ask. As long as it's up there, and it's up there for however long, anything, I'm happy that it's just there. So if it's there for a month, okay. If it's there for a couple months, like, awesome.
Really? Yeah.
I'm sure they'll just let me know and hopefully some of them will get sold. And
there's a lot of traffic through there.
yeah, that's why they have my spares in the basement, so if some do sell, they can put a new one up so they won't have blank spots on their walls.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I really appreciate your being here today and sharing your talent and all that with us. And you guys, I hope you will check her out, and you're available on Facebook. They can find you on Facebook, and I think we're putting your email and information on the screen. And so check out Candace Art and get in touch with her if you're interested in some of that. And thanks so much for watching.